Hello, hello. So looks like I missed a whole bunch of casts. So I definitely planned part two of this April Fool's special. We've got a bunch more casts here, so I'm gonna just jump into it. I'll go in order of save date. So first one's from Six Path. He's playing the Greenskins going up against Vampire Coast. Bound Fenrir is playing Vampire Coast. He's got Noctilus, Green Bess, some Morgul's, yeah. He's got some deck gunners, and yeah, just chaff around that. Let's see. So the map is one that I forget exactly what this one is called, but anyway, there's a decent amount of cover, so it might actually favor the greenskins slightly. On the other hand, look at how little space there is up until the map's edge. So coast is like backed pretty much right up on the edge here, so it's going to be very difficult to get in behind there and shut that down. First shot coming off here from Bess. This is the second time we've seen Bess coming against the greenskins. Let's see if it's able to net any value. So the first shot, or maybe the second shot, is a whiff here. Just misses these Goblin Wolf Riders. I think it's going to really, unless Six Path is not on top of his micro, I think it's going to have a really hard time connecting with the fairly speedy Goblin Wolf Rider archers. I mean, yeah, Wolf Rider archers. Did you have to call them Wolf Riders, or can you just call them Wolf Archers, Goblin Wolf Archers? I think we'll get it. Like, I mean, Wolf Rider seems kind of redundant. What else are they doing on the wolves with the wolves? Anyway, there's another shot dodged by Six Path. Nice stuff there. Maybe some glancing contact here from one of the units, but nothing too serious. Meanwhile, the Skulkers are just sneaking in behind here. At some point, they may be revealed, but it looks like these Morgul's are facing in the other direction. This is kind of funny because the Vampire Coast player has no idea that the Morgul's are here. Another shot's going to miss here. Six Path is just ducking and dodging. Over here we got some Scurvy Dogs that are going to get, they're going to get awoken by some shots from the Morgul's Marauders, and they're actually going to tag them. Doesn't look like they are on skirmish mode. They're getting some decent damage here. So counter response here from Six Path, the Savage Orcs. Shots coming in here in the woods. Pretty tight there for Six Path. This is where Six Path is going to have to be careful, because here Queen Bess could do some damage. Yes, there is, of course, the woods, but that shot's going to whiff entirely. But if it does land on those Savage Orcs, it will do some work, and then it'll be hard to get through all of the chaff on the front line. Skulkers have snuck past the early detection crew, but they have been revealed, and a response is coming in here. But if the Bloody Reaver Depth Guard is actually not the best response, honestly, to deal with Skulkers. Skulkers do have armor piercing, and they will trade cost effectively with the Bloody Reaver Depth Guard. He has 58 melee defense, but still 24 weapon damage for a unit that costs 500 gold. I mean, the Bloody Reavers would have to kill 3 units of Skulkers for it to be worth their while. I mean, I don't know. You could smoke bomb them and kite them too. That's another option if you really don't want to fight them. But anyway, this unit of Skulkers is going to get on the Shade Race and tie them up in just the nick of time. The Goblin Wolf Rider Archers are being used in melee here to tie up this unit of Death Gunners. So definitely using the numbers. Six Path is using his numbers to get some work done in here. Goblin Great Shaman is hanging in the back with the chariots. So like the valuable stuff is there. Hey, that's cool. There's a skull on the top of that. I never noticed that before. Did you see that skull? That's crazy. Anyway, I think he tried to drop it on the Arachnarok, but the Arachnarok was able to dodge. The Goblin Big Boss is just locked up some Deckhand Mob polearms, but he doesn't want to be there for sure. He probably would be best to rotate around the back here and try and take Noctilus if he can, or go after some Shade Race or something more valuable than deck. What are they called? The polearms, Deckhand Mob. Thank you. So Arachnar Queen's going to get in on Noctilus. That is bad news for Noctilus. That is definitely not where he wants to be. These Mongols are going to probably make a desperate play to come back and protect Noctilus, but I think they're going to have a hard time getting there on time before the Arachnarok has done a ton of damage to him. These Goblin Wolf Riders were able to pull the Zombie Deckhand Mob like way out of position, and he needed them to screen the Deck Gunners and the Savage Orcs and other things like that. Meanwhile, in the back, the Skulkers did lose to the Bloody Reaver Death Guard, so maybe not so bad for the. I thought it would be a good matchup for the Skulkers, but doesn't look like they've taken much damage. Granted, the Bloody Reaver Death Guard did get the charge bonus in. It looks like they were not wogging at the time of the fight, so maybe a bit of a late wog coming in here. I would have liked to see it pop certainly when the Arachnarok first arrived on Noctilus. I think the Shaman can be used here to tie up the. To tie up Noctilus, prevent him from kiting a little bit, make it easier for the Arachnarok to stick on him. But even so, the Arachnarok does have poison. It's going to lower his speed down to 34, and the Arachnarok has a base speed of like 50, so Noctilus is for sure going to drop there. Well, let's see what else is going on. We've got a Curse of the Bad Moon coming down on the Death Guard. I forget exactly what Curse of the Bad Moon does. Let's take a quick look here. It lowers speed and okay, armor and melee defense. So that's actually pretty good use of it on the I would have liked to see it on the Bloody Reavers, but did they get affected? It doesn't look like it. No, Smoke and Mirrors, and they're getting some heals there. So yeah, Curse of the Bad Moon probably best used on the Bloody Reaver Death Guard. Noctilus is going to scoot back towards the safety of them, but Balance Bar is in favor of Greenskins at this point. Queen Bess is about to get wrapped up and taken offline. It doesn't matter too much, honestly. It was out of ammo anyways. Big Boss is our tag team in the Mongols. Good spot for them to be in. But the Arachnarok and the Giant are full HP, and I think Sixth Path is going to be able to just take this one home. Once the Arachnarok and the Giant and the Goblin Big Bosses can get in on Noctilus, it should be it. Yeah, and there goes Noctilus. I think the Goblin Big Bosses, they really need to go after Noctilus, not dive the pole arms. But other than that, I think it was a pretty well played game by Sixth Path. And there, it's official. Once Noctilus goes down, you can pretty much call the game because he pulls the balance bar just so heavily. All right. Next up we have Sixth Path playing Greenskins. There's someone named Skiven Boy playing Vampire Coast. Another person named NWGIX playing High Elf, and Ghetto playing Dark Elf. So I'm not familiar with most of these players. I bumped into Ghetto a few times, but I can't say that I know him super well. Oh, it looks like Unicaps were off because we have two. This is the ROR Shade Race plus Bess, and Skiven Boy is certainly taking advantage of that. The High Elf players, let's see what they have. I don't know. Did it with Dark Elf. C-Spot is bringing the Arachnarok though. Alright, so High Elves, they've got Mage of Life and Tyrion. Archers, Sisters, Archers. Okay, cool stuff. There's Dark Riders, Repeater Crossbows, Dark Riders, Repeater Crossbows, Dark Riders, Repeater Crossbow. Mostly light cav, some heavy cav in the back. Got some Shades, dual weapons in the front. Marathi, which is good against undead generally, as is the Death Hag. And then some infantry here in not a particularly tactical formation as far as I can tell. Shade Race shooting in on some Goblin Wolf Riders. I mean, it's an expensive unit to use ammunition on Wolf Riders, but that leadership debuff is very effective against stuff with low leadership. This right here, Discourage, minus 16, it will cause these Goblin Wolf Rider archers to break almost immediately. So, I mean, not the worst. Queen Bess is raining shots down on a Goblin Big Moss, which is absolutely the worst target it could probably be shooting. But the Shade Race will do some decent damage to the Goblin Big Boss if they're able to connect there. They will chip him down. He's lost about 10 to 15% of his HP. There's a lot of damage going in, yeah. So he's going to have to be careful there. Keep moving. He is dodging a lot of the shots because he is moving, but still, over time it is chipping him down. He is almost broken off the Discouraged effect. So Spider Hatchling Summon goes in here. It's going to eat up a bunch of shots. Definitely you don't want to use the ammunition on the Spider Hatchling Summons, but hey, if you got it, you might as well flaunt it, I guess. I don't know. Dark Rider is going to tag these Goblin Wolf Riders. Repeater Crossbows, are they going to try and shoot as well? I don't know. I don't think the Dark Elf player seems like they're very experienced, but we'll see. I think the High Elf player's got a decent formation. He'll probably cause a lot of problems for Noctilus with the archers and also to the Deckhand Mob. I do think High Elves are one of the strongest counters to Vampire Coast because they have really long range archers that can just whittle down like the zombie screens. Because the thing is, Deckhand Mob and what are the polearm ones? Both the polearm variant and the other ones, neither of them have shields, so they are very vulnerable to counterfire from archers and things like that. Sisters of Avalorn not being used cost effectively shooting into the polearms. They should probably push up and shoot Noctilus. Goblin Big Boss is in here interrupting some things, but also getting attacked by Noctilus in return. He's just barely holding on here, but with the Wog, he's giving it. He's giving it out, but there he goes, Terror routed. On the far side, shots coming into the gunnery mob. And take a look in the back line. There's some Cold One Knights and Reavers who are just dealing with some skirmish cap from the High Elves. But I don't know, we'll see. Some fire from the Orc Airboys going into the Vampire Coast. They've been able to push up and start shooting in at the stuff in the back line because the Vampires did not extend their own front lines, and because they're so turtled in, that means free shots for the Orc Airboys, who would normally be limited by like fairly low range. In this case, they're able to get right in there. Goblin Wolf Rider Archers are going to go in there, and a Brainbuster or from the Orc Shaman, I think. Yep, going to tag some of these deckhand mobs. Do some pretty good work there. We also have Scarstick in here supporting his lads, helping them just keep their leadership up. He's got Get Back Here popped, Tricksy Traps, and Curse of the Spite of the Bad Moon for expert charge defense. I mean, I probably don't need charge defense against Vampire Coast. There's very little that is actually going to charge you, but hey. Sword Masters of Hoeth have got onto some Bleak Swords. They are going to absolutely wreck them. Looks like Morathi has taken a little joyride on account of Tyrion. Tyrion also chopping up the Death Hag pretty decently well, but Dark Riders will get in here, and the stats of Tyrion will be debuffed decently. But he is a duelist, and if anyone can deal with the melee attack debuffs of Morathi, it's probably Tyrion. Granted, Morathi does have an anti-large bonus, and in a 2v1 scenario, with a full surround from cavalry, Tyrion's probably not going to like that and will probably take off. But shots coming in here, and that could maybe even the odds for Mr. Tyrion. Feint of Repulse does get procced, so he might not win that fight, but he will be able to tank for a little while. And if the Swordmasters come over there, that should even the odds. In the back line, it looks like the Orcs have gotten onto Queen Bess along with the Giant and just taken that offline. Most of the gunners and front line of the Vampire Coast has fallen apart. All that's left really is the Harganeth Executioners. But in the backline, maybe disaster for the High Elves. We'll see. All of these archers who are sitting pretty are now getting run over by Cold One Knights and Dark Riders. Doesn't look like there's very much in the way of backline protection, aside from perhaps the Arachnarok Queen, who could drop some summons, some Spider Hatchlings to maybe tie these guys up and give the archers a bit of breathing room. But it looks like the Arachnarok is pretty focused in on taking out Noctilus, and down Noctilus shall go, I expect. If he drops, then that's going to help the Greenskin High Elf cause for sure. Down he goes. Scarstick and the Arachnarok can certainly take out Noctilus without too much problem. Cold One Knights, surprisingly, they are losing to Sisters of Avalorn and the Orc Airboys. Maybe they'll start to win, but looks like they've taken some damage from other tasks that they've been doing. Meanwhile, the Swordmasters are cutting up Dread Spears decently well, but also taking fire from Dark Riders with repeater crossbows. So nice play by the Dark Elf player to isolate these high tier infantry and just put some AP shots into them. The Cold One Knights are going to put in a charge onto some Spearmen. I think they would have been better used to tag the Swordmasters of Hoeth. A rear charge into that unit certainly would have broken it. The second unit, maybe not, but yeah. Swordmasters with Wog is absolutely terrifying. They're up to 70 melee attack almost, so definitely doing some damage there. Sisters of Avalorn, they're going to be chopping up these last few Cold One Knights. Dark Rider is going to respond in turn. Morathi is now greeting the Arachnarok, which is like not a bad place for her to be, I guess. But Tyrion plus the Arachnarok, and now Morathi's the one who's fully surrounded, including the Life Mage who's gotten in on it. I think Morathi's going to drop here. So once she goes down, that should be pretty much it. And I think we can hop on to the next replay. So good job, Sixpath. Thank you for sending that one in. So Ghetto was playing Dark Elf, I guess, and Skaven Boy was playing, Coast. Ghetto's build was okay. Alright, so what do we have here? We have another one from myself and Sixpath, going up against Donmer and a Norskin player who I'm not familiar with. Alright, so we have Cetra the Imperishable on Chariot. Hopefully she shall not perish. We've got a Bone Giant. We have Ushop the Great Bow. And on the ground a Necrotech. And the Necrotech is on foot, not on a chariot. And then we have a Lightcaster on horseback who can go around and drop nets where needed. Then there's myself playing the Greenskins. I've brought 3 units of Squigs to potentially cause some issues to mid-range shooting if I do have the opportunity. I brought 3 Goblin Wolf Chariots just for some interrupts. I have snares from the Night Goblin Shaman. I have Night Goblin War Boss for the Tormentor Sword, which I again forgot apparently. But he's got Log and he's got Get Back here, so not the worst. Excuse me. I've got Goblin Archers just to provide a little bit of pressure. And then our front line of good old-fashioned Orc Boys with a Chevron for 2 units. I mean, I don't know. I like to give them a couple chevrons, but I guess I was feeling a bit pinched with this particular build. Anyway, here comes Cetra. She's going to come in here and maybe drop some interrupts. Bone Giant doing some work on the Shamed Sorcerer of Fire. I like that. Oh, looked like Cetra just stopped there. I would like to see Cetra go into the infantry. A bit of a whiffed charge there. I don't really know what happened, but there she goes, come through. But I don't. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Start bowling Marauders. There you go. Yeah, you just want to interrupt and go kind of across that front line. So Six Path's got the right idea there, but charge is going to come in here from the Marauders. And this is going to be a painful burning head across the line of Spearmen. So it's almost like 2 1v1s here. It's a little hard to keep track of both battles at the same time, so I might slow it down here. Horseman Archers on the flank, they're going to get wrecked by all of this. Basically, the Wolves and Pharaoh Manticores are going to erase them. Without a spear screen, there's nothing safe for them to fall back to, and the speed of the Northskin Wolves and other things can just snare these and erase them straight away. In the front line, I think the Spears are going to struggle against all of this Northskin infantry. And the Lord, where's the Northskin Lord? What is it? It's Wulfric the Wanderer on horseback. So that could be a nice target for the Bone Giant as well, or the Ushop DLC if they're able to tag it. It looks like the focus is on the Shaman Sorcerer of Fire. Not a bad choice, but maybe Wulfric first. But I do like the double Manticore pick from the Northskin player. I think Manticores kind of fly under the radar because there's so many other monsters that Northskin can bring. But yeah, I mean, they're still really viable and really good. Spears are probably going to meet up with these Trolls. Over here we've got Dark Riders, repeater crossbows, and regular Dark Riders shooting in here on just chaff. And on the far flank, we've got Dark Riders, and a Manticore coming into the side here. So I'm gonna keep cycling back and forth between the two places. So here come the Wolves. Like I said, they're gonna wreck this here. We do have some sort of an explosion, or I don't know, something going down here. It looks like Cetra is getting tagged by both of the Manticores. So I like the Manticore choice gives Norsca a really viable option to hunt down chariots. And unless there's something that's going to make the Manticores rampage, then it's going to be tough for Cetra to kind of do her job on the infantry like she would otherwise need to do. Goblin Archers trading shots with the Dark Riders repeater crossbows. That's kind of a win for me. Dark Riders getting screened here by Squigs and other things. The back line, there's Shades, which could be really effective, but they're not contributing to this first fight. So it's almost like I'm fighting with my whole army and he's fighting with like 60% of his army instead of 100% of his army. So just in terms of like sheer damage output, I'm kind of like fighting stuff piecemeal here, whereas he's not. He's fighting my whole army. But over here it's like kind of an even fight. We've got some wolves getting into it with the skeleton horsemen, and yeah, they're gonna cut them up. I believe the wolves do have they have frostbite. Only the ROR has the anti-large, I believe. But oh, nice play here by Six Path to snare Wulfric. Gonna put some shots in on him with the Bone Giant. The Shopti are not able to get free of these Marauders, so unfortunately, while Wulfric has been pinned, these guys are not able to put in any damage. Bone Giant, oh, it looks like he missed on that shot. Yeah, I mean, maybe he grazed him a little bit. But yeah, Cetra's in the back line, mucking up some, I don't know, what do you call those, hunters? Marauder hunters? Am I right? Yes, hunters. The axe throwers. It's a very hipster thing to do these days, by the way. I see a lot of people doing like axe throwing. But anyway, there's a Lich Priest who is trying desperately to escape this Manticore, and he's just cycling around his shooting. So I think it's a good idea. I mean, Six Path is aware of what's going on. Over here, I've got a lot of things just mucking up this front line, trying to chew this up, sort of. And then once that's down, then I can start pushing into the back lines. In the meantime, I just send some sacrificial orc boys to go like take some shots from the shades. I mean, they have shields and they're pretty disposable. They are frontline infantry. It's not the end of the world. Meanwhile, I'm able to break off a lot of this mobility, the Corsairs, the Dark Riders and other things. Over here, it looks like it's starting to get pretty dicey for Tomb Kings. Their front line has just completely gotten overrun. I do think Norska is one of the hardest counters in the game to Tomb King. They do very well against the Tomb King infantry. They've got big monsters that can sort of dive the back lines, and they have a lot of units that can heal as well. Wulfric got in here on the light priest. The light priest actually did like decently well against Wulfric, again with the support of archers and other things. Well, Wulfric is pretty close to getting gooned out, but I think Settra is also in pretty rough shape. Now desperately being used to charge manticores just to keep the bone giant alive and fighting, which is not really how you optimally want to use Settra. And Settra's gonna take a bit of damage on the way out. On this other flank, it looks like most of the frontline infantry has been broken down. The Dreadlord is shooting in on, I guess, my Night Goblin Warboss, but for the most, is it? Or is he shooting the Skulkers? I don't know what he's shooting at, but while that's, yeah, he's shooting the Warboss, which is the right idea. But while that's happening, I'm pulling up some other archers and I'm going to start shooting back and just beating the snot out of his back line and other things while that's going on. So, yeah. So Wulfric is hot in pursuit of Settra, very low on HP. Settra at this point could maybe just turn around and kill him. He is wavering already, and he doesn't have the speed to kite that, so you might as well turn around and fight him. Bone Giant gonna... Oh, okay, well, I was wrong. Oh, look at that. Look at that fist go up. He just got power fisted and died. The Bone Giant pulled him to the grave, but the Bone Giant got fully surrounded because he was... because Settra had to run so far away. So Settra needs to come in here and basically free up his Bone Giant. He's got to dodge that Manticore, but a little bit of a miss there. The Manticore is able to land a charge onto Settra. Settra's going to try and break off the infantry. Nope. It's, a little explosion, little sneakiness there. But Settra's so low on HP at this point. And yeah, one Manticore should be able to finish it. Two Manticores it's a lot for Tomb King to deal with. The Lightcaster and shooting can certainly do it, but the shooting got wrapped up pretty quickly. Over here, everything is just getting mucked up in the backline. Balance bar very much in favor of Norska at this point, and the Dark Elves. But I still feel like I have a lot of tools left in my roster, and if I can take these shades out and then sort of square up my army and regroup to fight Norska, maybe we got a chance here. So Norska, I think they were being a little bit zealous here. So you know how I was talking about the Dark Elves fighting with like part of their army and then fighting with the rest? If you look here, there's 5 units of infantry that are coming at me from Norska. Meanwhile, he's got like another unit of infantry in the back. He's got the 2 feral Manticores still fighting a Bone Giant. So like, I think maybe he should have just been a little patient here. Finished off with the Tomb King. Once Tomb King was down, then commit his forces to fighting me, because now he's not fighting with his full strength, which is good for me. I'm not complaining. Giant can probably tear out pretty much anything. I just sent him towards the Norscan Ice Trolls, but actually the shooting from my Goblin Archers was able to eliminate them even before my Giant could get there, so that was okay. I did pull a little Gorkle Fix-It to make it hard for these guys to kite my Black Orcs. I'm going to send the Black Orcs and the Giant, just kind of chasing after them with the Skulkers, see if I can tag them with the Skulkers. I do have my Night Goblin Warboss still alive and healthy. He was able to escape the Dreadlord because of the Chariots and the other Goblin Archers, which caused him to fall back. And then over here, yeah, the Ferals are still up, but they're kind of low on HP. If they do get Rampage, there's a good chance they'll just die. We have Dark Riders basically out of ammo at this point. I did decide to pull back the Black Orcs because they were getting kited by these Marauder Hunters. The Marauder Hunters do have AP shots, so probably I should have just not used them in the first place and waited for the Squigs to come by and do the job, or just traded shots with my Goblin Archers versus them, because Goblin Archers versus Marauder Hunters would be totally adequate. Adequate is the word. I mean, They are Goblin Archers after all. But a little bit of an opportunity here. Once he dives his Pharaoh Manticores down, I see that these guys are unprotected, so I've got to dive all of my squigs in there. I will let him play in my archers. It's not worth it. Like, these are 300 gold. Pharaohs, have fun. You can kill my archers all day. I won't even care. While you're fighting that archer, I'm going to kill two other ones. Pharaohs are meant for hunting individual entities, chariots, heroes, things like that. They're not really... They can muck up archers, but, I mean... Goblin archers, it's not really the best use of their time. They could terror out the squigs, for example. Fighting a giant, not the worst choice, but in a 2v1. But the giant hits really hard, and honestly, you're probably better sending the Manticores after the Night Goblin Shaman or after my Lord. The Night Goblin Warboss would be like a perfect target for those Pharaoh Manticores. If they dive my Lord, plus the Dreadlord with his speed to kind of keep him in place, that could have been a big issue. But fighting the giant, I'm certainly okay with that. It's one of the hardest hitting things on my roster. So balance bar still in favor of my opponents, but I'm starting to feel like we've got an opportunity here because these Marauder Hunters have been broken off. My Lord's still like decent health. Black Orcs can kind of regroup and anchor that front line again. I can use the screen of my archers to kind of shoot around there. My giant's gone down, but he gave it as much as he took it. One Pharaoh Manticore is down for the count. The other one might be rallying, but this Dreadlord is taking shots to the face. In return, I'm taking shots from Shades, but Shades with great swords, I mean, that's expensive ammo. And these are goblins, so, I mean, even if you shoot the goblins, they're going to run away, come back, rally, and continue to shoot. So I'm not too worried about that. Night Goblin Warboss and the Squigs are going to get in some side charges here to Bleak Swords. They do have anti-infantry bonus and poison, so they're doing all right. They're doing okay here. And there's very little front line left. The Goblin Wolf Chariot is going to run through the Shades in the back. Hey, Sadao. Yeah, you saw this game, man. But anyway, I figure I cast it because Six Path dropped it, so there you go. So Goblin Chariot mucking up the Shades. And I think there's pretty much nothing else on the board left for our opponents to really use against us. So that should be pretty much it. I think it's just a question of Squigs chasing them off into the distance. And that's all she wrote, I think. He's going to dive down here. I mean, he needs to go after my leadership, but maybe he's going to... Yeah, he dove some Black Orcs. That was a bit of a strange choice. I don't know if he was trying to click on the Goblin Shaman and misclicked on the Black Orcs, but that was certainly a fatal mistake. And that was it. So Donmer, he ran kind of the same build like 3 or 4 times in a row. The Dreadlord Sword and Crossbow is a cool pick. I like him on the peg. He's fun. But do I think he's the best pick? No, but he's cool. Oh, Owen was the guy who was playing Orska. Yeah, Owen did pretty well there. I mean, he gave a lot of problems to Six Path. The Manticores were pretty good. But I think, yeah, sending the Manticores against the Giant was a mistake by Owen. And, yeah, other than that, it was pretty good. All right, I got one here from Spiffy, playing Bretonnia. I think this was a challenge match. Maybe not. Maybe not. He's going up against Lizardmen, and I guess he wanted to have a lot of anti-large tools to bring down the lizards. He's brought a Blessed Field Trebuchet, it looks like, which is not so bad against Saurus, I guess. Saurus are kind of slow-moving. They are in a bit of a loose formation, so they might not take as much damage from rocks as some other things, but yeah, what's their speed? Yeah, 31. They are pretty chunky, 60 armor. So it doesn't hurt maybe to have a field trap. Oh, it's a regular field trap. It's not even a blessed. Maybe it's okay, maybe not. Oh, but it's shooting at the Feral Dread Saurian, so I'm going to say right away, Spiffy, your odds of hitting a Feral Dread Saurian with a trap are probably very, very, very low. I know it's a big target, but it's still a Feral Dread Saurian. You probably want to use those rocks on the source. You also probably want to back up like a lot more with that trap, because look at the range on this thing, which is being just wasted. You've lost almost half of your range because it is deployed so far forward. So and back it up to the trees. I mean, put it, I don't know, behind these guys, like whatever you want to do, but I don't think you're going to get full value out of that. In any case. I don't know. Let's see. I mean, there must be a reason why Spiffy's showing this game, because there could be some surprise here. We got Chameleon Skinks off on the side. We've got Saurus Spears, Saurus Warriors. This is a very Sadao style of build to bring the heavy Saurus front line. We've got Saslan Mage Priest, High Mage Priest with Apotheosis. He's got Tempest, and he's got the missile weapon, magic missile. I forget, Soul Quench, I think it is. Let's just refresh my memory. Soul Crunch, yes. I passed the test. So, will the Slann Mage Priest get eaten alive while his Feral Dread Sauron is over here fighting in Halberds? Could be. Halberds will do pretty well against Saurus because the high-ish melee defense and the AP are at least better than most Bretonnian infantry. On the other hand, they'll do horribly against Skinks, who should chop them up without much of a problem. Surprisingly, the Field Chub is still online, and it is shooting like... Yeah, it's still shooting at the Feral Saurhound, which is kind of surprising. Meanwhile, this Goon Squad's going to go in here and take out the Stegodon, which is not being supported by any spear infantry or any skirmishers, so it's going to get full surrounded. Probably die very quickly. I mean, these are hippos and Albric and a whole bunch of other things. I expect the Slann Mage Priest to also die very quickly. Oh, well, maybe not. There is some sort of spears here, which are protecting him. Yeomen, yeah, Yeomen are not exactly the hardest hitting things in the world. They do find these skirmishers. No, skirmishers detected. Let's see if the Yeomen respond to that. They're probably the best answer to the Yeomen, or to the skirmishers. Yeah, no, Sada, I don't know if the whole build is your playstyle. I just said because of the Saurus. That's pretty much all. Grail Relique is in here. What would be your playstyle like as Lizardman? What would you bring instead of? I mean, I've seen you bring the Saurus for Lord choice. Would you go with the Slann? I don't know. Probably not the High Mage or the High Slann. Oh my goodness, that guy just like ripped the Phoenix in the most random direction across his own troops and the Bretonnian troops. It's crazy. Bounce Bar is like actually in favor of Lizardmen right now. It looks like the Feral is rampaging towards some men-at-arms pull arms who are breaking. Maybe towards the Field Trap, who knows? Over here we've got a whole bunch of stuff in here fighting with Saurus Spears. Yeah, this is going to be really atrocious. But without leadership and with the support of the Damsel, maybe they could just break them down. It looks like they were wavering. I mean, they probably could have just finished the job at this. I mean, look, they ended up breaking as Spiffy pulled away, which is kind of hilarious. But here come the Source Warriors into the Halberds. They're going to probably kill them pretty easily, especially now that they're so low on leadership and they're about to get rear charged. On the other hand, these guys are hustling. Look at speed. 30 speed versus... How are they outrunning the Saurus? I don't know. But Alberic's going to get in here, and he's going to fight this Feral Dread Sauron, which would normally be very hard for Britannia to take down. Because they can't really... Well, they can shoot it, I guess. If you have enough Peasant Bowmen, you can shoot it. But that's not the chivalrous way of dealing with the Feral Dread Sauron. So they're going to go right into it with Heroic Killing Blow, Shield of Thorns. Just Alberic's going to try and slice and dice. He does need to land his hits on the Feral, though. He doesn't want to waste all that damage on, like, Saurus Warriors. But, yeah, I think the Feral's in tough here. On the other hand, there are Saurus here. There are Red-Crested Skinkchis. But if the Feral goes down, then Flying Squad plus the heals might be enough to just Cycle Charge everything else. I have to watch and see. It is out of control. It's wavering. One more hit, I think, from Albrecht should be able to break it. Oh, Albrecht just dove kind of out of the way into some Skinks. So he's going to have to be force pathed onto the Feral. There it goes. Maybe the Paladin finished the job. So there goes the Feral. But Balance Bar is in favor of the Lizardmen at this point in time. There's some Mounted Yeomen who are going to scare away these guys who looks like they're on skirmish mode, which is okay. I don't know. I mean, it's better that the Yeomen take the shots probably rather than Albrecht. Albrecht, I think, should be able to finish the Feral Dread Sauron. And then the Life Mage getting tied up here by a whole bunch of Saurus Warriors. He will slip her out just in the nick of time. Paladin also tied up here. I don't know if he'll have the mass to pull through the Saurus. The Paladin does not have the most mass when he's on the Pegasus mount, but Albrecht over here finishing off the Feral. We'll see if... yeah, 2 or 3 Temple Guard. Okay, so pretty heavy. Dread and Slann Life. Yeah, Slann of Life is really strong. I think Reviv Crystal would be better, and then a Light Caster with other shootings, but to each their own. I have that battle, but it was just a stomp. But sure, if you want to see it, or maybe I deleted it. If you drop it in the replays, I can cast it. Yeah, I deleted it. Drop it in the replays, I'll cast it. We got Alberic, Hippos, other things, just beating on some Some spears. Balance bar is in favor of the lizards. I don't know. Did they turn off fire at will? Because it doesn't look like these chameleon skinks are even shooting, which is a bit weird. Oh, there goes one of them shooting. Some terror rod coming in. These guys have a lot of chevrons too. So they're up to 23 melee attack, 27 melee defense. Kind of hard to kill them, I guess. But I think the flying squad with a bunch of cycle charges should be able to clear this up. I'm gonna fast forward because I got other matches to get to. Let's see. Let's see if my prediction is correct. I do think the heals and the cycle charging should do it though. Plus terror, right? Because Albrecht causes terror, and there's something on the ground, so it's like it's fair game for Spiffy to continue to do this. I guess. I don't know. I don't know in tournament rules actually. She is a single entity, so I think it has to be a non-single entity unit on the ground. Nope. Lizards win. I was wrong. Okay, so congrats to Pixis on the victory. Spiffy, I mean, congrats on killing the Feral, and thanks for not being afraid to submit a game where you lost, because a lot of people only send games that they win, so it keeps it fresh if you show both. Got a game here from Exo. Looks like it was a quick battle game where Exo didn't like ready up in time, and apparently he left like over 1,000 gold on the table, so he didn't bring his full army, let's say. So he's going up against a Dreadlord and a Dark Sorcerer. So Dreadlord not known as being one of the most competitive picks. In certain niches, he can be okay. Decent missile frontline. I got mostly a blended roster here from the Dark Elves. It doesn't look like they're super, like, I don't know. I feel like some cash is left on the table for the Dark Elves almost as well. It's really small. Kola Knights, Karganath Executioners. Yeah, Moonhowlers in the back from the Greenskins. This is Exo playing Greenskins, to be clear. Doomdiver Catapult. I don't see Exo play Greenskins very much, so I'm curious to see this match. Forest Goblin Spider Riders gonna snare. These ones do have poison. Yeah, they're gonna have a hard time. The Cold Knights are gonna have a hard time catching this stuff. They go down to 50 movement speed once they're tagged with poison, which is pretty painful. In the back, some Shades are gonna try and do some sneaky Vanguard stuff. So we got some double Vanguard action going on. I love when that happens. It makes for some super colorful games. Definitely fun to cast. Skulkers are going to respond to the presence of the Cold Blood Knights. Will they tag the smoke bomb in time? Does not look like it. I do think they were within range. They could have tagged it if they wanted to, but I guess Exo's saving it for later. Meanwhile, more shots are going to go into the Cold Blood Riders. Doomdiver Catapults, interesting choice here. Going into the Dark Shards, doing some nice work. That's a unit I haven't experimented with a whole bunch. But it was able to chip off, what, three unit models? And no, more than that. Maybe 5-6 unit models? I'll watch that. I do think it would be better used on the Executioners, though. Dark Shard's only 600 gold, man. And Executioners are 1,200. So if you have the option, kill the Executioners. Gorkle Fixit going down here, which could cause a little bit of a disruption to the front line. These guys on the flanks might push out a little bit ahead of these other things if the Dark Elf player is not disciplined to kind of regroup his stuff. Greenskins are also sort of getting an envelopment here. They're going pretty wide, and the Dark Elves are kind of walking into that trap, let's say. But they spring a trap of their own. They wrap up a Goblin Big Boss with Dark Riders, which is not the best situation for them if we're going to be honest. The Goblin Big Boss will be able to fight these guys for a long time. Two Goblin Big Bosses versus that. The Goblin Big Bosses will win, and a counter charge from the Squeak Hoppers will make sure that they win. Meanwhile, with the Dark Riders out, that means that the Shades don't have any protection from other things like infantry, like Gobos. The Dark Shards still getting plowed by the Doomdiver Catapult. Doomdiver has used about 20% of its ammunition. Shots from the Dark Shards are going into nothing too valuable. It looks like it's just the Skirmishers over here. Skulkers may be left behind a little bit. Some Forest Goblin Moonhowlers have been countercharged by the Cold One Knights. They're going to be heading off into the distance. And over here we've got Skulkers just holding up some big swords for a little bit while the Squigs and the Goblins going to go chase down those Shades. And that is big trouble for their Shades. That's almost 2,000 gold worth of Shades. about to be munched up by Gobbo, Big Bosses, and Squigs. So very cost-effective situation for Exo. On the other hand, the Dreadlord's going to get in here and shut down the Doomdiver Catapult. With the Goblin Big Bosses off playing with Shades, that opens up some opportunities for the Dreadlord. I have not seen any casts from the Sorceress of Shadow go down yet. Does she have? She has Pit and Pendulum. Maybe I missed it, but I haven't seen anything go down. Also haven't seen some. I haven't seen many great targets for Pit or Pendulum. Like mostly it's kind of low tier stuff or Monstrous Infantry from the Greenskins. We do have a Great Goblin Shaman who is, I guess, maybe going to snare these Kobold Knights, make some space for the archers. I don't really know. We'll see. He's here. Maybe he's going to tag them in like a touch and go to free up the archers. We'll see. He doesn't want to stay in Kobold Knights for too long, that's for sure. But that Goblin archers over here are rallying. Doomdiver is back online. It looks like the Dreadlord... Oh, well, maybe not. The Dreadlord is finally able to break it, but not before it killed a unit of Dark Shards. I mean, I don't know, one Doomdiver for a unit of Dark Shards is not really cost effective because Dark Shards are about 600 gold, Doomdiver is about 900 if I recall correctly. So I don't think it paid for itself, but it did force the Dark Elves to advance, and you know, maybe if you don't count like value strictly in terms of cash and in terms of tactical positioning, like maybe it's okay. So depends on your play style. Goblin Big Boss and Squig's gonna wrap up this unit of Shades, take them off the map. I think the other unit has already fled. On the other hand, this Goblin Big Boss needs to escape this unit of Spears, but these Dread Spears have been pulled off so far that once Exo realizes that the Goblin Big Boss is in there fighting, if he realizes, he should be able to just pull the Goblin Big Boss away. And meanwhile, it's going to take a long time for these Dread Spears to kind of run back to the fight. Well, it's a close fight still, but I think the numerical advantage that the Dark Elves might have had early on is going to cause some issues. This unit of Harganath Executioners is full HP right now. It's very painful. There's no Orc Shaman, so there's no like foot that can just drop and smash this unit of Harganath Executioners. So it's gonna be really hard, I think, for Exo to bring those down. Honestly, I mean, he'll have to use shooting and Squigs, cycle charges with Squigs. Looks like he forgot about this Goblin Big Boss. Excuse me. So the Dread Spears will actually just grind him down from almost full HP. So a bit of a micro mistake there from Exo. Counter charge coming in from some Squigs here. They'll free up the Big Boss a little late, but because these guys were engaged in combat, I don't think they were braced, but still Squigs are large targets, so the Spears are going to get their bonus versus large against the Squigs. I don't think it's a great situation, honestly, for the Squigs to be in. I think there's better stuff for them to be used on. I would send the Squigs after the Executioners, for example. Use that AP poison and charge bonus to start taking some of those models off the field. Sisters of Slaughter are going to support the Harganath Executioners. That's going to be pretty good because the poison will, again, reduce the damage taken by those Harganath Executioners. Warlord's Boys, I mean, they will put it out pretty decently against the Executioners because they do have that armor sundering ability, which is, you know, it's going to get through the, like, what is it, 100 armor of the Executioners? Yeah, it is 100 armor. So we'll see. We've got Skulkers who are able to snare the Dreadlord. I guess the Dreadlord tried to dive after the archers, which was kind of an awkward choice. Or maybe he tried to tag the Shaman. I'm not really sure. But anyway, Skulkers lock him up, and they're going to do some pretty good damage on him. The Shaman can actually go in here and pin the Dreadlord in this case. I would not chase him after the Dark Shards. I mean, well, maybe he'll break them. What do I know? But I would probably just try and prevent this Dreadlord from escaping, because the Dreadlord's fully surrounded by Skulkers. And if you can just pin him in there, you can take the leadership off the field. That's a pretty good situation. On the other hand, the Sorceress of Shadow should get her hands dirty and go after the Goblin Great Shaman by not committing to that with the Bleak Swords to deal with the Moon Howlers. That means the Dark Shards are just gonna get wrecked. And yeah, Exo's pulled it almost back to even here. We have a Pit of Shades going down on the Night Goblin Archers and the Skulkers. The Skulkers are going to retreat, but that means the leadership core of the Dark Elves is still intact. Honestly, the Sorceress of Shadow and the Dreadlord, if those two are just used in tandem with the Harganath Executioners, I think there's very little that the Greenskins have left that can kill them. But if they go kind of one at a time, if the Dreadlord attacks, then the Sorceress of Shadow attacks, then they might get isolated and chipped down. So we'll see. On the far side, it looks like the one lone unit of Dread Spears was broken off. And the Goblin Big Bosses are back. The one that had been stabbed by Dread Spears for a really long time has recovered, and he's pissed. And then there's the other one who was just full HP forever. It doesn't even matter. The Doomdiver Catapult is getting charged by the caster, and these archers are going to get attacked again by the Dreadlord, and followed up with the Bleak Swords. So I don't know, man. It's pretty dicey across the board. So there's very little infantry left for the Dark Elves, though, aside from the really healthy unit of Harganeth Executioners. There's a little bit of ammo left in the Dark Elf Corsairs. We've got the Great Goblin Shaman, gonna maybe try and tie them up and just take them out really quickly before the leadership can kind of come back there. If the Dark Elves just kind of play it tight, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. There's a lot that could still happen here. Let's look at the kit again of the Goblin the Goblin Shaman. He's got Itchy Stabbing, he's got Vindictive Glare, he's got Itchy Nuisance, and he's got Gorkle Fix-It. So like a pretty standard kit, but no AoE spells that, like no Vortex spells that can deal with the Harganeth Executioners. I think the where did the Doomdiver Catapult go yet? No, it's running to the periphery, but it's still around. And it looks like the Dreadlord and the Sorcerers of Shadow are being used to chase off these very tattered infantry units. Honestly, the Sisters of Slaughter could probably just do that at this point in time. They're pretty fast. They poison. They kill a lot more unit models. I would rather, I think the Dreadlord and the Sorceress are probably better used doing other things. Let the Sisters chase them off. They're pretty fast. But yeah, so the Corsairs are going to get eaten here. Still a really close fight. A bit of a long one, but I think it's been worth every bit of it. So I'm gonna stick with it. So yeah, I'll fast forward a little bit here as both armies kind of regroup. Exo's gonna push the Goblin Shaman here and try to do something. Okay, what do we got here? We got a Gorkle Fix-It, lowering the speed and charge bonus of almost the whole army. I mean, they tag the Executioners here with the Gorkle Fix-It. So what are they going to follow up with that? I mean, I would have expected him to do that after hitting the Dreadlord and stuff. So he's going to lead with the Goblin Shaman, then follow with the Squigs, then follow with the Goblin Big Boss, then follow with the Moon Howlers. So just many charges going in on these Harganeth Executioners. The Dreadlord's going to countercharge against the Great Goblin Shaman. Here come the Trolls. Trolls are going to get in there and start whacking. Harganeth Executioners down to 61 unit models. The Great Goblin Shaman definitely does not want to be taking hits from the Dreadlord. Dreadlord will put the beat down on him. But the Goblin Big Boss is here, and he can also hit the Dreadlord. What is this? What is there? Vortex? Is that a Pit of Shades? Is he going to Pit of Shades his own Harganeth Executioners? Are you joking me? That's what he's going to do. He's going to kill his own Executioners. Look at the balance bar. It's like wildly in favor of Dark Elves. But watch this Pit of Shades. He's going to melt his own Executioners. He's going to melt his Sisters of Slaughter. He's literally going to suicide his army. Look, 49, 47, 45, 44, 43, 40, 38. It's 30. It's hilarious. Charge going to come in here. Counter charge from the Sorceress of Shadow. The Harganeth Executioners are breaking. Dreadlord gets killed by the Goblin Shaman. Skulker is going to wrap up the Sorceress of Shadows. Smoke Bomb the Sorceress of Shadows. Going to finish the Dreadlord, turn around, kill the Sorceress of Shadows. This guy's going to rally. Or does he chase off the Executioners? What decisions here? Do you kill the Sorceress or do you go after the Executioners? It looks like Exo's going to try and finish the leadership. Smoke Bomb has just come off. Got the Goblin Shaman's back. He can cast another Gorkle Fix-It if it's cooled down. No, it's not. Up in the air. Oh, he's going to dive right away. Exo is going to be right on top of the micro. He's going to dodge, send the Goblin Big Boss after the Sorceress. Will the Goblin Big Boss get there in time? He's going to pop a Foe Seeker, I believe. Or Slippery. Sorry. Slippery. Not going to get there in time. But Executioners here against Trolls. Trolls will regen health. With the Goblin Big Boss plus the Trolls, they should be able to tag. Ooh, nice. Oh, look at that micro there. Sends the Goblin Big Boss after the Shaman. Shaman goes after the Sorceress goes after the Shaman, but gets dodged. Exo is able to tag the Sorceress with the Goblin Big Boss. Goblin Big Boss should finish that off. Meanwhile, Trolls locked up on the Executioners, which was best case scenario for them. Great Goblin Shaman now can chase them off, but instead he's going to go into the Bleak Swords. But yeah, I don't know about diving the Bleak Swords. Maybe it's okay. I don't know. It does put a leadership penalty for that side charge. And that's it. So Exo pulls it out. That was a wild game. Moral of the story is, if you have Harganeth Executioners, don't cast Pit of Shades on their head. They don't like it. So yeah, and congrats to EXO for just sticking with it. He said he was 1,800 gold short. I don't know if that's true or not, but he was definitely on the short end of the stick. Now we have Six Path, a game with Sergio, Botrix, and Tanker. Six Path playing Greenskins, Sergio playing the Empire, Botrix playing Wood Elves, and Tanker playing Vampire Counts. Botrix has got 4 spears, 2 Deepwood Scouts, some cavalry, some poison cavalry, some flyers in the air. That was a crazy game, Isada. Then we've got Goblin Big Boss as a shaman and some other stuff. Alright, in the forest. Great Goblin Shaman on horseback. He's getting a lot of play these days. So, cool. Look at that. He's got the spider. It's got like that spider emblem on its back with the sticks. That's cool. Goblin Big Bosses. These are on horseback, I believe. Cool. That's how I like them, on horseback. None of the spider stuff. I like the speedy ones. Savage Orcs, and cheaper too. Save yourself 200. Save yourself 200 gold if you bring them on horse mounts. Spearman across the line. Cannon. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. What do the counts have? They've got a Vargulf. They've got Felbats, Vargeists. They've got Von Karstein, Vampire Lord, which is the one with the Vargulf summon. So I'm going to use those to full effect. Another Vargulf over here. So potentially 4 Vargulfs that could be summoned, which can be really disruptive to Empire. Because if they only have 2 units of cavalry, I mean, I don't know, it depends, but it can give them a lot of large targets to try and shut down. They can get a little frantic. I got Demis, Empire Knights, Empire Captain plus Boris, so that's okay there. On Wolfpack, yeah, on Wolfpack, thank you. Vargeis here are gonna, I guess, try and screen these Goblin Wolf Archers. I wouldn't chase them. I mean, they're gonna take more damage than they do here, I think. If you look, well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. They killed a couple unit models here, but they almost lost 20% of the HP. Like, this is an $1,100 unit, so if you lose 30% of your HP, you're probably taking 300 gold worth of damage there. And this is only worth 300 gold, so even if you, like, completely murdered the unit, I mean, I don't know if it's worth it. This does not have regen either. Like, I mean, you have to spend Winds of Magic to heal that now. I don't know. I probably would have just sent some zombies after them and then pulled these guys back. Like, there's no reason to chase these guys. Let your zombies soak the shots. So, as is common, I'm going to assume Tanker's playing Vampire Coast here. And Botrix is playing Wood Elf, if I recall correctly. It looks like very methodical approach to start with. I would have liked to see the vampires be a little more aggressive with their front line. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit until we get the real fighting underway. While this is happening, don't forget the cannon is shooting in here. So Vampire Coast or counts. Vampire counts are taking some free damage here for no reason. I mean, all the action right now is just centered on this far flank. Just skirmishers trading shots. Wolf Riders versus these Glade Riders, Hagebane Tips. Honestly, it's not even worth using your ammo on the skirmishers. Like, I don't know. I think Six Path is playing Greenskins, if I recall. I don't remember. You got Vargulf taking shots from the cannon. I mean, it's not the worst target for the cannon to shoot. The Vargulf can heal up though. I don't know. Maybe it'll hit the healing cap. Vargulf gonna tag some Empire Knights. Here comes Boris. Boris plus Empire Knights going to do some work here on the Vargulf. Vargulf is going to run through the spear screen and off to safety. Empire Knights certainly don't want to be fighting in Eternal Guard for very long. Boris he's committed to chasing this Vargulf, but meanwhile the Empire Captain getting snagged and some Vargeis up in the air. In the end, I guess Boris will come back here to support his Empire Captain and go after the Flyers. Boris plus the captain should be able to kill the Vargeis without any other support. So I think the air battle is likely to be won shortly by the Empire, but not before shutting down a cannon, perhaps. Let's see if it's enough to take the crew off. Demis are quick to respond. Demi halberds are not the best at clearing Vampire Fellbats, but they can get the job done when they're already depleted from shooting. These Marauders are going to just shoot the shit out of these Vargheists, so that's 2,200 gold going down the drain, because these Vargheists are 1,100 gold apiece. Excuse me. So that's a pretty good win for the Greenskins and the Empire. Very costly one for the Vampire counts. On the far side, looks like these Glade Riders are being screened off by like nothing super valuable. Goblins are chasing them, but honestly, they don't even need to chase them. They can just let the infantry soak the bullets. Goblin Great Shaman, if he wanted to, he could probably snare these Glade Riders. He's going to dodge some shots here, so nice stuff from Six Path, just being aware of that with his micro. The one downside of the Goblin Great Shaman, in spite of all his move, he is pretty slow. But yeah, there's the Gorkle Fix-It, so that's going to slow the speed of those usually very difficult to catch Glade Riders. Just enough for the Goblin Great Shaman to get in here, and probably the Goblin Big Bosses can also tag them. Again, they are on the Wolf mounts, so they'll be a little faster. They can probably take that unit of Glade Riders off the field. But that's on the periphery. What we care about is this big action in here. We've got the Arachnarok and the Bone Giant, and the regular Giant just smashing some Vampire infantry. Again, Vamps really struggle with large. We have Dupewood Scouts in the back that are shooting in on the Arachnarok, so it's not free damage, but on the other hand, it's not AP shots. And the Arachnarok Queen has 150 armor, so she is super tanky. If you don't have Wave Watchers or a Wave Stalker to shoot the Arachnarok, it's going to take you a while to trip through that down armor. So you need like Volume of Fire. Even regular Glade Guard would have been good here. Deepwood Scouts, they're Skirmish Archer. I mean, I don't know. You need Volume or Fire or AP, I think, to really effectively deal with your Arachnarok. It's not doing much there. Anyway. Over here we've got like Varghulfs, 3 Varghulfs going up against an Empire Captain, a Bright Wizard, and Boris. This is a big fight. I think these 2 Varghulfs should be able to win versus the Bright Wizard and the Empire Captain. On the other hand, Boris should probably be able to take down 1 Varghulf of his own, but overall it's pretty atrocious. This one is summoning. I mean, that would have been a 3v2 scenario, but Bright Wizard, who came in to help out, possibly going to get tagged here by the zombies and snared. He doesn't have a lot of mass. The Von Karstein Vamplord is running over here to put some damage in on the Bright Wizard. Probably he's going to be able to strip off some damage. Oh, no, the Bright Wizard just escapes to safety. On the far side, we've got the cannon is still firing. Wild Riders are close to being able to get in or charge here, but Pistoliers and other things are shooting the Wild Riders. Let's see if these guys get into the cannon. I don't know. Not yet. I'm going to monitor that from over here. The Arachnarok... Oh, my game just jumped a little bit. The Arachnarok and the other things are going to go into the mosh pit here. Boris is going to take a hit probably from the Giant and other things. Giant will do very well against Varghulfs. So Arachnarok and the Giant are pretty good counter to that kind of stuff. Boris breaks off, but he'll heal unless the Hawk Riders come in here and chase him off the field. So nice play there by Botrix, jumping on top of Boris and just trying to keep him from rallying. I think that'll be a nice pickup for the Wood Elves if they can do it. We do have a Storm of the Night coming down here against the Bright Wizard. It's going to snare him, but there's no real follow-up damage. I've always been kind of like iffy on that spell. Unless you have follow-up damage, it'll take away 10-15% HP, and then what? It'll just go away. But Gladelord are going to retreat to the safety of the Hawk Riders, who were chasing Boris. Boris gets taken out, and this is a perfect situation for Botrix. So he's just basically lured the remaining leadership on the Empire right into his sweet spot. So taking damage from 2 units of Hawk Riders who are like decent in melee, plus the Gladelord, this should go in favor of the Wood Elves. Balance bar slightly in favor of Greenskins and Empire, but if this hero pocket goes, maybe it's going to continue to be even. Over here, Varghulfs are doing work on all of the Empire Spearmen and stuff. Don't forget they can heal, but one of them has already reached its healing cap bar here, and it's going to continue to take shots from the Great Cannon. Some Savage Orcs a little bit inactive in the backline here. We'll see if they get used, but over here, I think this central like bump and grind pocket probably going in favor of the Greenskins. All that's really left is the Von Karstein Vamplord, but now he's taking hits from the Giant, and with the Arachnarok there, I don't think he's going to be able to kite. Arachnarok plus Giant should be able to kill the Empire Captain and the Von Karstein Vamplord, and if the Vamplord goes down, we can expect all of the Vampire stuff to crumble. I think the Varghulfs will suffer a leadership penalty and likely just drop out. Savage Orcs in the back here, not really being used for too much. Spellsting of Life being screened off by the Spearmen. And Arachnarok is just going around looking for for whatever she can get. But yeah, this is a key engagement right here. The giant on the Von Karstein Vamp Lord. Von Karstein Vamp Lord definitely needs to get the hell out of there. But I don't think he will be successful. 2 Goblin Big Bosses now are tagging him. The Empire Captain is going to come in there, try and help, but this is a lost cause at this point. Vargul's going to come over here and try and give him a bit of breathing room, but Vargul's are for all that they do, they're not really dedicated duelists, and they're kind of like a chariot. They're like a weird version of a chariot. They can do some damage, but yeah, sustained combat like dedicated duelists will do better. The Great Goblin Shaman does get netted here, but a Crown of Command gets popped, which is kind of a surprising choice there, but just prevents him from running away. So nice. In this case, it was a really nice play by Sixth Path, because if he lost his leadership, like these Hawk Riders probably could have chased him off the map. That was cool stuff. Hawk Riders are going to come over here and try and break off the spears, I guess, so that the Spellslinger of Life can get free. But Goblin Big Boss chopped up one of the Vargulfs. This other Vargulf is crumbling. The Lord is down, so I think we can call this game here. And congrats to Sixth Path. And I forget who the Empire player was. But yeah, it was a close game. Botrix and Tanker, nice try too. I do think it is harder to play Vampire counts in a 2v2, but not impossible. I like what these Hawk Riders did. They did some good things there. I don't know. I think Sixth Path got some really nice value out of his skirmishers, and I think his Arachnarok and Giant were the MVPs in that frontline fight. If people do bring Footlords, a Giant is a very, very good counter to that. In fact, Giants in general just are fantastic against Vampire counts. I think Tanker would have needed some Archer support to bring down the Giant, and I don't think that the Deepwood Scouts really just had enough punch to kind of kill the Giant or the Arachnarok in time. If you were going to shoot one of those targets, I would say shoot the Giant. If you don't have AP shooting, because the Giant has less armor than the Arachnarok, so you get more value out of your shots. Alright, we've got one more here. Last game. Did I show this one already? Vampire Close? I did show that one, I think. So that's it for me for now. Take it easy. I hope you enjoyed the replays, and we'll see you around.